Welcome to another edition of One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams joins with the Brooklyn Botanic Garden and corporate sponsor National Grid for the 2017 Greenest Block in Brooklyn Awards announcement. This year's winner was no stranger to the contest, as they've been a participant for many, many years. But 2017 was the year as they became the winner of the 23rd annual Greenest Block in Brooklyn contest. The winner is Stuyvesant Avenue between Bainbridge and Chauncey Streets. The Stuyvesant Avenue winning block was not a very big block, but it does have a heavy amount of traffic, foot and car. But that couldn't stop the determined SABA organization, the Stuyvesant Avenue Block Association, from winning this year's contest.
So, I mean, we're a small block, but we're packed with a lot of, goodness. And we have a lot of flowers. We have 22 whiskey barrels on the block. We have 22 urns and planters. Every home is decorated. Just not one person who didn't participate this year. And we had wide community support, and the energy's been great, and it brought everyone together. Like, we're all actually friends now because of this process. And people who you didn't really talk to before, you're talking to them now because you're planning, you're doing things together, you're going out in a truck and getting the flowers on the weekend, and you're bringing it back, and your hands are getting dirty, you're in the soil. And then you have a glass of wine at the end of the day to kind of celebrate the hard work.
It builds community pride.
It really does, and it's a community-wide effort, and it's like the best thing in the world. It represents the entire neighborhood. It's our lobby, it's our gateway. So when people look at Stuyvesant Heights, they think about Stuyvesant Avenue, and it's probably one of the most beautiful, I think, one of the most beautiful streets in New York City. Not just Brooklyn. I think New York City, we're one of the best blocks, I think.
Well, lastly, you mentioned that Bed-Stuy has a lot of community pride now.
Yeah, it's very competitive. We have a lot of great blocks in Bed-Stuy. Every year in the top 10, you'll find 4 blocks are from Bedford-Stuyvesant. And I just think it's just like an experience that people took from the down south when they came up here, up north, and also people from the West Indies. They've already had this community gardening kind of culture embedded in them, and when they came here, they just applied the exact same kind of philosophy, and Green Street, everything is like the same.
I helped my dad with the planting, and we watered the plants too. And we went with my dad to run errands and do all these things, and I feel like I really got to know the people who lived on this block better, and I got to have fun with my friends.
How did it make you feel to work in the garden?
It felt really good.
Yeah.
And then when my dad told me that we won, I ran around the house screaming because I was so excited but so surprised at the same time.
Because you were part of it.
Yeah, and so all of our work paid off, and I would always help my grandma, water the plants with the hose, but also get wet and watch her. It was really
You guys probably been doing this for like most of your lives, eh?
Yeah, like when I was 3, I'd always come out and do some gardening with my dad. Like all my family would just go outside and we'd do the tree beds together. And we'd plant tulips and all of that kind of stuff. So.
There's not a better organization to run the Greenest Block in Brooklyn contest than the good folks at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. They not only know green, they also know Brooklyn.
I think the community participation and building community around something positive about greening is probably the greatest legacy of this contest. Certainly we're making New York City a greener place, Brooklyn a greener place, but we're also building neighbors and community around this positive activity. Well, good morning. My name is Scot Medbury. I'm the president of Brooklyn Botanic Garden. I'm delighted to welcome you to the winning block of the 23rd annual Greenest Block in Brooklyn contest. Woo-hoo! On behalf of Brooklyn Botanic Garden, I really want to thank you all for being here and supporting community greening throughout the borough of Brooklyn. A special welcome to Sandra Chapman, who is the Chief Program Officer with the Office of the Borough President. Our Borough President Eric Adams has been such an amazing champion for greening and for a greener Brooklyn. And Sandra, we're delighted you could be with us for this wonderful event. This year's contest drew entries from over 150 blocks from neighborhoods all across Brooklyn. As always, the competition was fierce, but really friendly. This is a contest, we say, one in which everyone wins, but we do have some big winners today. The incredible entries by our Greenest Blocks this year are a testament both to the dedication of the residents, and this block, greenest among them, and to the wonderful work of Brooklyn Botanic Garden's community greening programs, which include this contest, the Greenest Block in Brooklyn contest, the Brooklyn Urban Gardeners, which is training knowledgeable citizens to help Brooklynites to make their blocks greener. We love that. The Street Tree Stewards, the Community Garden Alliance, and others. So we're very fortunate at Brooklyn Botanic Garden to have a footprint outside the gates and walls of the garden and out in Brooklyn neighborhoods in really meaningful ways. I really want to thank all the neighborhood gardeners for your hard work, for digging in and planting with your neighbors to make Brooklyn a greener place. Due to our borough's dedication to gardening, along with the really wonderful summer we're having, let's give it up for the summer too, because it is really such a lovely, cool summer. The lush rainfall, it's been just well timed. I guess it's going to rain on Thursday. This has been a really particularly competitive contest. The top entries were of such a high caliber that the judges had really lengthy deliberations before selecting this block as the 2017 winner. So they had some real competition, I will tell you. The finalists included veteran blocks that have all been faithful entrants in the contest over the years, as well as blocks that are relatively new to the contest but have come up to speed very quickly. Throughout the contest entries, we saw wonderful examples of water-wise gardening, the use of native plants, creative planters, and much more bringing of life in color to Brooklyn blocks. You can really see that for our Greenest Block gardeners, working together with neighbors to green their blocks is a labor of love. Community greening programs bring Brooklyn Botanic Garden out into communities throughout the borough and help residents create greener communities through gardening and conservation. And these programs bring a wealth of experience, knowledge, and insight back to Brooklyn Botanic Garden as well. We're very proud of the work of our community greening programs, and thanks very much go to the terrific team that makes these programs possible. Mark Fisher, who is the Director of Horticultural Programs, Nina Brown, the Community Garden Program, Maureen O'Brien, Nina Brown, Community Program Manager, Maureen O'Brien, Community Field Manager, Carla Rodriguez, Community Outreach Assistant, as well as Teddy Tedesco, Manager of the New York City Compost Project hosted by Brooklyn Botanic Garden, and the rest of the entire New York City Compost Project team. That's an amazing program that I've also not mentioned. We're out there helping the Department of Sanitation really make Brooklyn lead the world in composting, so very exciting. Now, I also want to thank National Grid, which is a major sponsor of Brooklyn Botanic Garden's community greening programs. Their support and partnership is instrumental to the continued success of this competition and all of our community greening work. Thanks to National Grid, we can give special recognition today for leadership in sustainable practices in neighborhood greening, and so we have a winner of that as well. I also want to give a shout out to the Brooklyn Community Foundation, which is a longtime BBG sponsor and a founding sponsor of this contest. We're so grateful to have their ongoing support for Brooklyn Botanic Garden's community greening program. So I'm very grateful also to recognize former Assemblymember Annette Robinson. We're delighted that you're here with us, Annette. The Assembly member lives on a block around the corner that won this contest before, so has helped lead this neighborhood in greening. So now I'm delighted to welcome Sandra Chapman, Chief Program Officer of the Borough President's Office, to say a few words. Sandra.
Thank you, Scott. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for that. I love that. It's a beautiful morning. We're on a beautiful block. I want to thank our sponsors, Brooklyn Community Foundation, Brooklyn Botanic Garden, Greenbridge, and the National Grid for bringing us together here today. On behalf of Borough President Adams, I am so thrilled that this block has won. You guys have put all of the hard work into it. SABA, Stuyvesant Avenue Block Association. I just love those t-shirts. I want to congratulate you for winning this year's competition. And to Mid-Atlantic, do I see Mid-Atlantic? Mid-Atlantic, congratulations to you as well. And to the Tilder Block Association. There are so many benefits to gardening and belonging to a community garden. Some are increase a sense of community ownership and stewardship by bringing neighbors from a wide variety of backgrounds together, preventing crime, providing opportunities for neighbors to meet and get to know each other, and increase that eyes on the street. Increase physical activity through gardening, maintenance activities. As you all know, last year, Borough President Adams was diagnosed with diabetes, and so he changed his diet. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk as well. So we know that community gardens, the work that you do, it's not just flowers. A lot of times it's that fruit and vegetables that you also plant, maybe not in the front, but in the back. And that's that healthy living that we promote. And of course, promoting healthy living reduces risk of not only diabetes, but any other types of health-related diseases. It also helps us with mental health issues, because I know as a gardener, a small garden, I don't have a big garden, but as a small gardener, I really love to dig in the dirt. But when I see the little worms, I kind of like get a little squirmy myself, but we know that they're good for our soil. So I want to thank everyone here today, and say a big compliment to our Assemblywoman Annette Robinson. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank everyone who turned out for today's press conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Now I'm delighted to present the award for the 2017 Greenest Block in Brooklyn contest to Stuyvesant Avenue Block Association, Stuyvesant Avenue between Bainbridge and Chauncey Streets. And I think our block representative may be Serge. Here he is. Serge, would you please come up? And join. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
And now, for the year's second greenest commercial block in Brooklyn, the Mid-Atlantic Block Association, Atlantic Avenue between Bond and Nevins Street. We saw, there she is. Congratulations. Excellent. And here we are. I'll get on this side of you. And here we are. Congratulations. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Woo-hoo. Now I'd like to invite our partners at National Grid up to co-present the National Grid Leadership and Sustainable Practices Award. This award recognizes a block or community garden that shows innovative techniques based on the principles of sustainable gardening. Sustainable practices might address water conservation, composting, soil health, or many other things that go into environmentally friendly gardening. Keith Rooney, the Director of Community and Customer Management at National Grid, is here to help us present this special award. Keith, would you please come? Excellent. Welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, Brooklyn.
Good morning.
I'm in the energy business, so let's try that again. Good morning, Brooklyn.
Good morning.
All right. I'd like to thank Scott, and I value our partnership with the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. National Grid works very closely with them and in all our communities. We are embedded in our communities. I'm very excited about today. I want to, our own Renee McClure has actually been a judge since 2013 on this National Grid's Leadership and Sustainability Award. And this year, for 2017, we have a special winner that I'm very proud to announce. But before I announce them, I want to just talk a little bit about the stuff of what they accomplished. They're up between East 31st and East 32nd between Tilden and Schneider in Brooklyn. And they had over 60 participants with people ranging from age 3 years old up to 85 years old. And not only in communities in Brooklyn, but as far as the Bronx. So let's have a round of applause for the Tilden. Really good. And they received money from the Citizens New York City grant and they bought over 150 plants and tools, and then took the excess money and invested in tree beds. And when National Grid looks at energy, we look at this the Tilden group as a prime example of ecology, horticultural, and energy savings. So without further ado, let's have a round of applause for this year's winner of National Grid's 2017 Leadership and Sustainability Award, the Tilden Group from Brooklyn. Congratulations. Congratulations.
And so now I get to announce the second and third place winners, giving you a little sense of some of the competition. And for those of you who have the time and interest, I'd encourage you to go out and see some of these other blocks. They're amazing. So second place residential is Lefferts Alliance Community Togetherness Block Association, which is Lefferts Avenue between Bedford and Rogers Avenue. This is a block to watch because they are coming on. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Smile at the camera, look.
And the third place residential, the Lincoln Road R&B Block Association, Lincoln Road between Bedford and Rogers Avenue, also in Lefferts Gardens. Woohoo! And I have one more to announce. Second place commercial, the Fulton Area Business Alliance, Fulton Street between James Place and Grand Avenue and Clinton Hill. So give it up for Fulton, for FAB, as I think they're known. Now my pleasure to introduce Mark Fisher, Director of Horticultural Programs at the Garden, who will make some comments. Please, Mark. Welcome, Mark.
Good morning, Brooklyn. What a beautiful day, huh? Wow, a job well done. First, I'd like to thank the nearly 20 people who judged this year's 23rd annual Greenest Block in Brooklyn. Once again, Brooklyn gardeners made it inspiring work. We welcome back our first round judges again this year, Anandi Premrel and Brandon Otis. Thank you, Anandi and Brandon, for your care and enthusiasm, and thanks to all the second and final round judges too. Together, they clocked almost 500,000 steps for this competition. Outreach assistant, Carla Rodriguez, drove the judges that's nearly 250 miles of judging through Brooklyn and walked every block that was entered. Carla also answered your phones, email inquiries, and did much more to support this year's contest. Thank you, Carla. I also want to thank Maureen O'Brien, Brooklyn Botanic Garden's community manager, who enthusiastically teaches the street tree care and street gardening clinics on numerous blocks. Also thank BBG Community Program Manager Nina Brown. There's Nina, hey. Who keeps the contest running very smoothly, as you can all see, and has informed you guys with all the interesting email newsletters and the annual Insider Tour event, which it's worth noting was held just a few weeks ago and hosted by last year's winning block of East 25th Street. Greenest Block is truly a labor of love for our staff and for Brooklyn. We at BBG continue to be amazed by Brooklyn's neighborhood greeners. Despite countless challenges in gardening on our busy sidewalks, you persevere with beauty, grace, and joy. We hope you will stop by the Community Greening and NYC Compost Project tables today with your questions, meet the team, pick up urban garden information, and sign up for our e-newsletter. And now I'm excited to announce our remaining award winners. The greenest storefront in Brooklyn goes to first place is Pro One Tire. entered by 27th Street Block Association, Sunset Park. Great. Second place, NSK Management, entered by 10th Street Block Association, Park Slope. Third place, entered by Shops of Peaches Kitchen and Bar, entered by Shops of Lewis Avenue Merchants Association, Bed-Stuy. In the category of Best Street Tree Beds, first place goes to Macon Street, Ralph Howard Block Association, Macon Street between Ralph and Howard Avenues, Bedford-Stuyvesant. Second place tree bed goes to Lefferts Place Block Association, Lefferts Place between Franklin and Classon Avenues, Bedford-Stuyvesant. Third place, Vanderveer Block Association, Vanderveer Place between Flatbush Avenue and East 23rd Street, Flatbush. And an honorable mention for tree beds goes to an exceptional first-time entrant, 400 Bainbridge Street Block Association, Bainbridge Street between Howard and Saratoga Avenues. Congratulations. In the category of Best Community Garden Streetscape, a single garden really stood out. First place goes to Lefferts Place Block Association Community Garden. Lefferts Place between Franklin and Classon Avenues, Bedford-Stuyvesant. And this year, the judges were inspired to award a special commendation to Vanderveer Place Block Association, Vanderveer Place between Flatbush Avenue and East 23rd Street, Flatbush. This commendation is to honor Vanderveer's exceptional drought-tolerant plant selections and in numerous containers that line the sidewalk. Good job. Best window boxes award goes to an East Wendy Weeks of East 38th Street, 2001 Block Association earned first place. And Cheryl Brownlees of East 59th Street United Block Association earned an honorable mention. In Park Slope, Beverly Friedman of Garfield Place, 5th and 6th Block Association took second place. And with the third place tie were Roberto Rivera of Mid-Atlantic Block Association in Boerum Hill, and Althea Joseph of Lincoln Civic Block Association in Crown Heights. Lastly, I want to name the residential blocks that earned an overall honorable mention. Bainbridge Street between Howard and Saratoga Avenues, Decatur Street between Stuyvesant and Lewis Avenues, East 32nd Street between Tilden and Snyder Avenue, East 48th Street between Avenues J and K, East 59th Street between Foster Avenue and Farragut Road, Flatland 7th Street between East 108th Street and Fresh Creek, Jefferson Avenue between Malcolm X Boulevard and Patchen Avenue, Marion Street between Thomas Boylan Street and Rockaway Avenue, Sterling Place between 7th and Flatbush Avenues, Sterling Street between Washington and Bedford Avenues, and Union Street between Rogers and Nostrand Avenues. Congratulations to them and each and every block that joined in the greening of Brooklyn this year. I invite you to visit bbg.org/Greenest Block to see the photos of all these amazing winners. Thank you all very much.
If you'd like more information about the Greenest Block in Brooklyn contest, visit the Brooklyn Botanic Garden website, bbg.org. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams.